So, good evening, everyone. My name is Bhaskar Kumar, and I have around 18 years of experience in enterprise performance management and BI, mostly around HQ operations. So, I would say that if you are a C-level executive, and if I get opportunity to spend a few moments with you, then I can definitely deliver some value. I can create some value. I have experience around working uh, with people with C level people. So in this small video, what I am going to do is basically I am going to talk about IT service management dashboard. So I have put the name ITSM dashboard. It is also called extensively in the market as a CIO dashboard. But in this presentation, or the solution that I am currently working on as one of my personal projects, is to not only get the dashboard in place, but also provide a high level costing model of how to collect the data to create this dashboard, and what this dashboard, how the data will be gathered, how the data will be processed, and how it will be presented. So it's pretty much an application which will be there in place. And also, you have like this tool will be more useful for a company where the IT budget is like, I would say, 10 million plus. Then I think it makes more value to have this kind of a application, dashboard, tool, whatever you want, you're comfortable to call it. So let's get into it. So what we are going to go through it, we are going to go through in this presentation about the why do you need this dashboard, what value it will bring to you, and then what are the exactly pain points that it is going to respond to. And right now the focus of this presentation or this dashboard that I'm preparing is more around financial KPIs, but it is very it provides you a framework to capture other service level KPIs. And the more data you feed or you are ready to collect, it can process that data. It has the framework. So what is ITSM dashboard? So what this dashboard constitutes of, what is this application about? More we will go into detail. Then my personal recommendations of how to implement ITSM dashboards, uh, especially if you are going in any kind of such level of dashboard at the enterprise level, then how to implement it in a small. And then there will be a demo will be covered in another part of the video. This will not be part of this video. So let's move. So introduction. So my question, if you are CIO, CDIO of a large multinational, and you are going for your annual budget, right, where you have to explain what is your demand, and you have to defend your demand in the board, mostly in the board. And um, and 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 I would assume that you are demanding a big amount of money, and you have to go. You get up in the morning, and you have a choice. Do you go to that meeting or you go to a dentist? Where are you going to go? I would say you are going to go to the dentist, because I know how painful these meetings are and what are the real pain points out there. So b- that's why I'm here to present to you a very well thought through costing model, and a tool which can absorb that costing model, and then help you to get a better view of your ICT FinOps. Then this tool is basically, it has ability to capture data regarding ITSM with a focus on financial part of that, uh, in more than 15 dimensions, more than 50 attributes, and it can consolidate things in a hierarchical manner. And then it can give you opportunity to slice and dice data at any granularity. It will guide you to do it meaningfully. And with this dashboard, I'm confident that you will gain trust of your partners, your stakeholders as a C level or as a leadership level operating in the space of ICT delivery. Uh, if you are from IT side or from finance side, doesn't matter. This will definitely add value to your day-to-day operations. So let's look at few challenges that is faced. Like, no, you have limited visibility and granularity in your IT spending. So how the spend is happening, you have very limited granularity captured, or even if it is captured, it is not consolidated meaningfully. It is staying in 10 different systems. And it is so, if you don't have this granularity at your hand real time, then you cannot monitor it, you cannot prioritize it, you have no, very difficult to control it, especially in global organizations where regional cost is different, global cost is different, different cost center owners. So then this kind of no thing, what happens is that if you have no idea of your TCO, what is your total cost of ownership around one of the business service, and then what is your spend on that, then you cannot really align this cost that you spend on one of the business service and the value that business service offers. So that is pitfall of not having data. Whenever any other key stakeholder asks for granularity, you are not ready, you go back, you ask your controller, they do an exercise, they prepare something ad hoc in Excel, they present this data, it's not properly shareable, it's not standardized. So there is definitely no, when you share this data, there is lack of trust because it's not consistent. Generally, during the recharge process, where you take your cost at the group level and pass it on to your subsidiaries, then this exercise becomes even more critical because stakeholders involved increase. So if we look at when we are talking about no different stakeholders, we will look into detail. Then you have to go for your budgetary meetings. You have to defend your budget. Questions are asked from all angles. Why this project? Why this service? Why this license? Why not this vendor? Are you doing some kind of a license like fixed cost versus capacity base? So all these kind of questions come, and if you don't have the granular buckets at your hand, at your disposal to slice and dice, it becomes very difficult to explain and defend your position. Then you have um, lots of stakeholders that we talked about, and also every time that you ask for such information and your controller goes back and prepares the um, the ad hoc Excel file, there is a loss of consistency. The definitions are not consistent, the presentation way is not consistent, the data is gathered and put into different buckets is not consistent. So this also creates a lot of mess in your life. So now if we go and look crisp questions, right? Why, how do get data no, granularity? So data granularity you can get if you have a lot of dimensions, lot of attributes which you are trying to capture the data at. If you capture the data at certain granularity, then only you have reliable granularity to report back to. So, so that is one of the things. So I will like to show you the costing model at this point of time. So if we look at this costing model, then in this costing model, we have these many dimensions. We have accounts. So, and when I say accounts, then it is more about the ICT accounts, right? How you define your account. So let's say I go to the accounts, then you can see that these are different from general financial GL level accounts. These are more related to ICT. So you have buckets of financial accounts like hardware data, hardware purchase, travel expense, software acquisition. Then you have certain related to personnel like salaries and wages, internal labor rate card, Then you have many statistical like number of tickets, system maintenance events, network traffics, and all these things, the buckets that are being collected as accounts are very much related to what kind of KPI you want to report into. There are many accounts which origin from financial place, but these are no, these are for sure needed for your TCO calculation, depending on your TCO calculation definition. So if we look at the other dimensions, then we have activities. So activities you will mostly use around your projects. We have applications, assets. So you can see we have many definitions, around 15 different dimensions, all having a lot of different attributes. What do you mean by attribute? For example, if I want to show you, let's say, my vendor, then whether the vendor is preferred or not is my bucket. So if somebody asks me to report that, can you tell how much if your spend is going through preferred vendor? And if I maintain this bucket, then I can report on that bucket. Similarly, this is what I mean. You have more than 50 attributes to slice and dice upon. So if we go back to the next question, how to get transparent and collaborative ICT FinOps process? So, okay, so collaborative, but collaborate with whom? So we can see that we have different user profiles involved in this process. We have CIO, we have ICT controllers at the group level, we have ICT controllers at the regional level, and they play an important role in establishing control and harmony with your regional CIO. Also during the recharge process, they play an important role. Executive ICT leadership team. So these are the people who will define your organization structure. So how do you, because business service, organizational structure, application, these things are very important on how do you want to report within the ICT organization. For then you have cost center owners who will enter the data. I will come back to this point to a bit more. And then you have IT managers who are reporting the cost center details, basically the cost center owners. Then you have financial managers and analysts whose job is to reconcile it to financial systems, ERPs, and different things, and add more trust and value that yes, your numbers are good, reliable. And then your business unit managers, the people who are really impacted by your spend, the people who really back you as a sponsor for your cost. You have compliance and risk managers who want to look at the overall picture of how IT is doing, what is the spend, and IT HR partners who deal with your personnel, right? Who know your salaries and wages of the personnel in case of you want to augment your capacity, you have to to little bit reduce your capacity. In those places the IT HR partners come into place. For example, if you look at this form for the IT HR partner, I so there is okay, so this form. So in this form, what you are doing is basically you are entering the data for, okay, so you are entering the data for, I don't have data for budget, so I will have for actuals. So you are entering the data for salaries and wages. So maybe your cost center owners don't have access to this data, and this is entered through your HR partner. And your cost center owner maybe just is interested in going and entering the data for internal labor rate card for calculating your TCO. So one example of how the different user profiles impact this dashboard or application. So if we go back to the PPT, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. Different user profiles can come together and work on this dashboard, have a consistent view of what data is being fed, what are the rules, what are the definitions, how it is being reported. So that is how this dashboard can help you to create your harmony across all stakeholders. How to get data prep done once limited. So This tool provides you opportunity of lots of automation, lots of standardization, and with limited capacity on FinOps side, you can organize your data. Budget efficacy. So this is basically by budget efficacy. If you have a granular view of all the data, then you can increase your budget efficacy, right? ICT is primarily considered a cost center, and there is always pressure to cut costs, cut costs, cut costs. At the same time, you have to deliver higher value to keep yourself, patrons, to keep yourself, let's say, value creator to the organization. And there, the more granular view you have of the business service you provide, and how the cost is flowing, the more you have ability to, focus that or divert that flow in where you feel it will add the most value. And how to make an affordable, adoptable, and scalable system. So see, there are different CIO dashboards in the market which are not very customizable, and also per user cost is there. They don't integrate very well with Excel. So this model that we are proposing, it will integrate very tightly with the Excel. Is very cheap because it is just hosted on Excel. It just needs a backend server to run some business logic and a database to store the data. And that is why it is very scalable, affordable and adoptable, because it is very tightly coupled with Excel. And people who deal with numbers, if you don't give them tight coupling with Excel, sooner or later the application will have many unhappy users. So ITSM dashboard description. So this is the description. I will say it's very obvious. So financial costing, it helps you with that. It helps you with your budget process. It helps you to look at your project initiatives. It can incorporate any type of KPI that you want, like how you are doing in the world of risk, security, compliance. You can create specific KPIs for that. And it helps you to have real-time insight, efficiency, transparency, trust. We talked about these things already. So how this is going to flow? So this slide looks a bit dominating, but I would say it is not that dominating. So just take a step back and see. So we have these are the feed that this system will get, right? So these feeds can come through some system. The more feed comes to the system, the more robust the automation, the lesser the human work to to do further allocation of that information in those 15 dimensions, right? So we have a legal entity, we have scenarios, invoices, financial GLs, and ICT financial GL information, because eventually you want to reconcile your numbers with the financial numbers, right? So then you have your travel costs, you have employee data, you have contracts, you have vendors, and then there is a lot of information which will come through the ICT organization, right? Lot of information will come on non-financial statistics from your day-to-day service platform like Snow, your project platform like Jira, and then there is a lot of things or timesheets. And then there is certain part where I want to highlight that the ICT leadership needs to define those things, like your your ICT organization, how your organization is done. People can say, oh, just go ahead and pull it from the Outlook, your Active Directory, but I would say that it should be defined, well defined. Then how do you qualify your assets? And how do you qualify your applications and business services? These are things where the leadership has to put certain vision into this, that how do they want to report it, how do they want to, define it. And I would like to take this opportunity to take you guys and show, for example, what I'm talking about. So ICT organization. What am I talking about? So in ICT organization, I am talking about something like you can see. So I have under infrastructure organization called uh, cloud, cloud admin. Then I have something called as, so I have physical help desk, we have PMO under infrastructure, general management, under middleware, I have finance, I have legal HR, under finance, I have EPM, ERP, BI. So these are the things which you can see are there. So like this, you'll have to eventually define, right, the tree structure of how your organization looks like. Then if you look at the business services, so I can go to okay, ICT services. You can see I have one foundational DB service, group finance planning, infrastructure services, business intelligence. So these are the app names and then or business service names. So this needs to be defined because eventually TCO will be calculated at this level. So this is whatever you define here, TCO will be calculated at that level. So going back to the slide. So once we have collected all this information, then we take all this information and we stage all this data. We do some validation to see if the data quality is good and meets basic standards. If not, we circle it back to the sources. Once we have this, then we take the data that we have received and then we do metadata and data mining to populate our first draft of the costing model. And once we have that, then we can run some allocation algorithms, and these allocation algorithms can do as much allocation as they can do from whatever information is provided. Then it goes to a data mart, and through data mart it goes to user form. You don't have to push this process at the very first stage to get 100% accuracy of the data. Let it go slow, sync it slow in your organization, and there you can say, okay, my none buckets, the non-qualified buckets can be very large amounts, and slowly, gradually, every quarter you can target to reduce them, that so that eventually in your system there is not more than 5% or 10% of unallocated amounts on the dimensions that are important to you. We can also do augmentation of the information from publicly provided available information. Like for vendor, we can say that we can give you ESG rating of your vendor, of your cloud provider, how much carbon neutral they are, and those kind of things. Once we have all this data available, then we can send it for reconciliation to key systems. We can use it for reporting and dashboard, and then we can also take the extract and give outbound to any outbound system which wants this data. That's the overall high level data model of how this data will flow. One specific example can be like how it's going to be. So effort allocation, financial cost is provided. Then after financial cost is provided, effort allocation is done. After after effort allocation is done, then the wages and rates are entered. Then the cost of the personnel is calculated based on what is their effort, and then based on that the FX rates TCO is calculated. Once TCO is calculated, then you can use that ratio to slice and dice and get different KPIs. So what do I mean here is, let me go to the model, it will be more visible here. So first step is that, let's say I go and I input my FX rates. So I have my FX rates. And why FX rate? Because this model is designed for a global organization, an organization which scales through multiple countries. You have regional CIOs, regional cost. Many applications are running totally at the region level, acquired, maintained, and everything. Many are running at the corporate level. That's why FX rate. Then we talked about this sheet already. So you enter how many employees you have, what is the wages, and this doesn't count for externals uh, until unless they are externals but receive a full-time contract from your company. So, and before you go there, obviously you will have to get your list of employees. So this is how you can manage your employee here. Like you can see, you can also get a dashboard of on the employee. You can get your dashboard on what is the level of employees that you have from the level of the CIO, right? So here you can see that 11% or 10% are at level 2. So it is a good pyramid, right? Sometimes the pyramid can be inverse. You might have too many managers and too less workers. So going back, the once you have done this MPVG rate, then you can go and also enter different information. Like you can enter your different non-financials for count of user. So then you need to enter your count of users by entity. This is needed to calculate what is going to be the recharge once you have calculated your TCO. And then there are non-financials that you can enter, all these number enhancement hours and all by application, so that later you can calculate your ratio. Like let's say per user, what is my cost of running this application? Per user, how many defects we are receiving? So those kind of information. So then the main form is the form financial data. So here, let's say you can enter your data. So let's say I am the head of infrastructure services. And so here I have cost that group DB service is going to pay to me because I run a service which they consume and the asset is Windows Server. Similarly, other applications will pay to me. And if I am ahead of, let's say, foundational DB service, I will go here. First, I will see that what are the things that I have to pay internally. So I see it tells me that to infrastructure, you have to pay for Windows Server certain amount. And then I can go and put my other lines that, okay, these are my other lines. And I can tell that, okay, I'm going to pay to the infrastructure. So I can go and say that I can pay to the infrastructures, but I'm going to receive from these services. So very complex calculation is possible, I think. And then once finally you have everything, then you can go and have your reports. So you can have your TCO, where the TCO is by all these lines. You have labor cost calculated based on your labor allocation in FTE. You can calculate by vendor cost, by legal entity, what is your cost, and then you can see most of the cost is sitting in corporate in US, for example. You can see TCO per user for different business service. You can see group finance planning is the highest TCO per user. And similarly, you can basically you can slice and dice and present any report that you want. So then after this, if we so a good overview is here. What are the user profiles? We already talked about it. Inbound systems, we already talked about it. Forms, we saw the forms. Dimensions, we already talked about it. Reports, high level report, basically any reporting is possible. I will not go into this detail. I will let you ask me that is this report possible? And I will show to you. You can see I have ICT recharge reconciliation also. Like you can see here that for internal labor, group finance planning was requested by business service infrastructure 15,000 and they paid 15,000. You can see employee allocation report. That was there any employee over allocated? I can see that Pradeepa was over allocated 1.1. So basically all types of reporting is possible. Now coming to my recommendation of how you deliver this project. So to deliver this project, first is we take sample of all these source systems, sample data, and then we run some algorithms, AIs on it, and mine metadata and data and do as much allocation. And we populate this cost model that is there, that we demoed today. No, not demoed means you got a glimpse of. And then once the cost model is populated, then we take this tool and we go to the stakeholders, the key stakeholders like controllers and these people, and we give them this tool and we say, okay, have a look at it. Do you need some more attributes? Do you think there are too much attributes? Some more validation rules, like this assessment. And once this is done and the model, Excel model is agreed, then we take this model and we connect it to one of the SQL server using VB macro, and we quickly roll it out to key users where security is not critical, scale is not critical. They are like super user or champion users. That much of user experience or stable Excel version is not, because eventually Excel based applications are not very user friendly. So we scale them to them. Once that is done, and parallelly we start working on preparing a application for the user. This application is based on the decision, and this can be a Power application, this can be a Excel add-in. And then once this is done, then the app is ready, then it is rolled out to UAT, and we see if the UI is working fine. Once it is done, then the security roles and everything is assigned, and data system is rolled out. Eventually, if you are able to capture the first year actuals on this tool, you can use the same actuals to prepare your budget next year. So that is how, no, I personally would recommend people to first collect your actuals at this granularity and then go for budget. Some people have also approach where they first say that, oh, I have a well done budget, can we load the budget here, and then start from there. Absolutely fine with that. So common pitfalls. So this is important. So I would want you to go through this. So CC owner or application owner is accountable for the TCO. So who is accountable for those lines in this tool? Accountability is by cost center owner or is by department? Because if you look at this tool, um, then financial data, everything, all the information is available to us, right? So if we have available the cost center, through cost center we can know. So if I go to the cost center, so the cost center, then you will see in cost center I have ICT organization lookup, employee lookup. So ownership is by cost center or is by application, because every line here is mapped to a application name, business service name. What is this business service? So ownership is by that. So these are the questions which, if not clarified at the beginning of the project or beginning how you are setting up your organization, can create trouble later. Lack of cost center structure in finance system. So you have to understand that you might have to be aware that the cost center structure in the finance systems might not be apt for the ICT organization requirement. And there you have to break it up in the applications and business services and your ICT organization. So these things will help you to bridge that gap between the cost center that is there in the finance systems and the way your organization is organized on cost center ownership perspective. And that is the same thing I'm trying to highlight again here. Then there can be overwhelming desire to recharge all your corporate costs to all your entities, and you know just having a tool will not change the general dynamics of the organization. So you have to go very slow. Yes, having granularity and ability to defend what you are recharging uh, is easier, but sudden changes don't happen, right? and there can be tendency to book most amounts under. So this we talked about. Okay, it's good to start with where your 80% of your cost is in none bucket here and there, but slowly, gradually, month after month, quarter after quarter, you want to reduce the cost that sits in your none bucket, right? Of your dimension that you prefer. For example, vendor none is not a good situation. App, no, so those kind of things. Group CIOs, regional CIOs alignment needs to be there, right? So, and should be stronger than the regional CFO versus regional CIO. Uh, No, I don't think I'm the best person to comment on this, but I've seen that this topic comes every now and then. Business initiatives costs are hidden under ICT regional costs. We have seen that regional ICT cost many times have some non-ICT costs, no, inside them in the budget period, and this tool will help you to control that. Top of everything, collecting this information at this granularity is not an easy exercise by any means, and you need to have a full awareness of that, that any BI project which is not got full patronage from the top very rarely succeeds. So we can put the tool, we can put the framework, but until unless there is commitment to enter quality data into it, to monitor the data that is coming, to use this tool, the project will succeed is not guaranteed. So demo we talked about, it is be some other exercise. For now, I think that is what I wanted to show. One thing I wanted to show, my next exercise that I am doing currently is I am trying to okay, I am trying to build an add-in. So Power App, per Power App, it will cost you around $4 to $5 if you want to implement this solution on Power App. And even if you have implemented it on Power App, then also the integration with Excel is not tight. Eventually, you will need to build some kind of Excel tool where people can bulk no, input their data, 100 records, 200 records, and then you'll have to load it into Power App through some Power Automate flow or something. So as my next exercise, I'm trying to prepare this add-in, which will make this whole application very smooth. But as I said, as a quick deployment, we can take this tool, connect it to a SQL server, and then go live very fast. That is all from me in this evening, and I wish all of you a very nice day ahead. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. I will be very happy to engage you on this topic. So thank you for your support, and wish you all a very nice day ahead.